You live, Willie?
Yep. Uh, yes. Welcome, the Liberian people and all of you viewing today's program. We're basically looking at trending issues in Liberia, and that is the issues relating to the court sentencing of the celebrated man called Prophet Key. And the court sentenced Prophet Key, the Supreme Court sentenced Prophet Key for 6 months in prison after the judge that he was held in contempt of court. So today we are just going to look at what it is and what it means for our country, our culture, and our justice dispensation. So I have with me Comrade Orlando Jones and Professor Amos Tiakofa. Welcome to you guys. You are allowed 2 minutes to give your introductory or opening statement, and then we can move forward.
All right, I can start. Thank you. I'll see your moderator on the Kaki Dialogue, Honorable Willie Hera. Thank you for welcoming me on the platform. And my colleagues, Professor Amos Kofa. Uh, we are here to share the Liberian people say your 2 cents on this Prophet Key sentences. And I think Prophet Key was sentenced to two 6 months in prison. He was held in contempt by the court, the Supreme Court, the full bench. And they also added that after serving his sentence before he be released, he need to publish in 4 different newspaper, print media, a letter of apology, and that he would not use any whether like causing someone murder on his platform. That's what I got because I listened to the when they were reading the verdict today. But I got a mixed reaction from this whole episode with Prophet Key and the Supreme Court. My reaction is mixed because it stems from, I would say, freedom of speech. How can we draw the line that people on the private platform expressing their opinion, whether the opinion is in a way that other people don't accept, what the verbiage that they use on the language is offensive, but it's still freedom of speech. But looking on the other side of it, the society where we're from, we believe in decency, eh? And while your rights and other people's rights start, eh? And some people hail Prophet King for the temple and why he attract a lot of viewer on his platform. So he got involved into the politics and it became a new norm in the Liberian political scene. Using that type of language was putting people to book. And some people were taking a U-turn who were in wrongdoing because Prophet Key was using this language, and they used to be careful not to do something crazy and Prophet Key, and you enter on Prophet Key platform. But
Let
looking
me
at the legal,
let me let me hold you there. Yeah.
But looking at the legal, that's why I say I got a misreaction.
Yeah.
Looking at the legal aspect of the Supreme Court holding people in contempt and what constitutes contempt. That's why we are on the platform to dig deeper. What constitutes contempt? What a man calls is part of contempt of the court. I will leave it there and send out to Professor Amos Kofa to get an opening.
Thank you, comrade. And comrade Billy, comrade Orlando Jones, thank you so much. Comrade Billy, especially you, my man, for keeping the platform alive and going. Yes, we know there are trending issues, especially when it comes to the whole issue of Prophet Key, and that's why we are here to give our own opinion as to how we see the verdict of the court or the opinion of the Supreme Court today. And I mean, I look forward to a very good conversation, and happy to be here so that we can give our own input as it relates to the issue about. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let me quickly look for a clip from the Supreme Court where the Chief Justice was trying to clarify what they invited Prophet Key for.
All right. Did you find it?
The clip?
Yeah, when they were reading it.
Oh, when they were reading it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me look for this one first. Okay. So here is it. Here is it.
Radio, social media, the Supreme Court has had one Justin Museum, otherwise known as Prophet Key in contempt. I think this is an opportunity for me to clarify that the Supreme Court of Liberia has not quote unquote Prophet Key in contempt. The Constitution of Liberia gives freedom of speech, freedom of expression for all our citizens. And the Supreme Court of Liberia guards that freedom very, very well. The same Constitution also gives the Supreme Court of Liberia the right to interpret the Constitution and laws of Liberia. And whatever it says is the final. In recent times, there have been attacks on the Supreme Court, specifically on the Chief Justice and even the mother of the Chief Justice. The Supreme Court felt that it is important to cite Prophet Key to appear the so-called defendant, why he cannot be held in contempt, but demeaning the what? And outright abusing the mother of the sitting Chief Justice. Prophet Key will be given due process in court. He will appear with a lawyer tomorrow, and he will tell the court, will give the court sufficient reason why he should not be held in contempt. Our law requires that he appear to answer. If if you give sufficient reason, you will walk away and do nothing has happened. So we are not hard from the king content. It is not true that he has been. But in order to be able to have your content, you must be giving your king. You must be called, you must be cited, and given an opportunity to answer. That's the process we are going through. Other people say why they are not happy. In the past, maybe he has insulted other people, but he has not insulted the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will not go look for case. Nobody has brought it to the attention of the court. But now that the police are under attack, the Google law has the right to defend itself. So we are saying I for lawyers to defend us. But what the law says, that when the police are under attack, you ask for a lawyer to kind of defend you. So our lawyer and his lawyer will be able to tackle the law. That's all we're trying to do. So please correct it that the Supreme Court of Nigeria has.
So there you have it. The Chief Justice said that they invited Prophet Key for for him to come and say before the court why he should not be held in contempt. And the reason why they want to hold him in contempt is because he demeaned the court. Now, what the Chief Justice cited as demeaning the court is that he insulted the Chief Justice. And he also went further to insult the Chief Justice mom.
Yeah.
So, according to the Chief Justice, insulting the Chief Justice and insulting the Chief Justice mom is equivalent to insulting or demeaning the court. And most of the justices agree with that. And so they were inviting him to show cause why he should not be held in contempt. And if you listen to the Chief Justice, he said he will come with his lawyer and the court will have their own lawyers too, and then they will go through the matter. Now, Prophet Key lawyer on one side, those people who are affected, which is the court, the Supreme Court, they will have their lawyer and they will go into the matter. And so there is where we are. Prophet Key went before the Supreme Court to answer a question why he should not be held in contempt. At the end of the day, he is held in contempt and sentenced to prison.
Yeah, so senior moderator and Beauty Herald. So I'm not a lawyer, but I don't have no legal background to delve into the legal aspect of the case, but I have some question, open-ended question. And according to the Supreme Court, I know the guy, what the Chief Justice was reading that comment, and he said in his comment that on social media, Prophet Key demeaned the court, but he went specifically, he talked about his mother. Prophet Key caused a murder, and Prophet Key should appear to the Supreme Court full bench with a lawyer. So if the Supreme Court is injured by someone, there's any other code, because I know they get different code. But if you injured by that same person, and you are the person that will be running the judgment, I know in legal, how do you go? Because it's who rendered the judgment today? It's the Supreme Court, eh?
Yeah.
So I'm confused about that. I don't know how legal things work. If someone in the Supreme Court, or because it's the Chief Justice mother that Prophet King sorry, there's a way that the Supreme Court can accuse herself and send that case to a lower court with a different judge, with Prophet King lawyer going to fight. But it can be I'm getting confused. Why is the same Supreme Court, is the one running judgment who is injured from a case?
Kamakova, did you listen to the Chief Justice statement? Or you want me to play again?
That would be fine, bro. That would be fine.
Let me play the Chief Justice.
I'm very confused.
Because OJ is asking a very critical question, and we have to take note of that seriously.
Yeah, because I'm confused. Why would be the same that running the same judgment? They were injured from Prophet Key action.
Because the part where he says that they will have their lawyer, and Prophet Key will bring his lawyer.
Yeah.
Radio, social media, the Supreme Court has had one Justin Museum, otherwise known as Prophet Key in contempt. I think this is an opportunity for me to clarify that the Supreme Court of Liberia has not put a Prophet Key in contempt. The Constitution of Liberia gives freedom of speech, freedom of expression for all our citizens. And the Supreme Court of Liberia guards that freedom very, very well. The same Constitution also gives the Supreme Court of Liberia the right to interpret the Constitution and laws of Liberia. And whatever it says is the final. The recent attack on the Supreme Court, specifically on the Chief Justice, and even the mother of the Chief Justice. The Supreme Court felt that it is important to cite Prophet Key to appear the so-called opinion why he cannot be held in contempt, but the meaning was and outright abusing the mother of the sitting Chief Justice. Prophet Key will be given due process in court. He will appear with a lawyer tomorrow and will tell the court, will give the court sufficient why he should not be held in contempt. Our law requires that he appear to answer. If he gives sufficient reason, he will walk away and do nothing has happened. So we are not hard from the king contempt. It is not true that he has been. But the court to be able to have him contempt, you must be giving your day in court. You must be called, you must be cited, and given an opportunity to answer. That's the process we are going through. Other people say why they are not happy. In the past, maybe he has insulted other people, but he has not insulted the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will not go look for case. Nobody has brought it to the attention of the court. But now that the court is under attack, the coconut law has the right to defend itself. So we are asking for lawyers to defend us. But what the law says, that when the court is under attack, we ask for a lawyer to come and defend you. So our lawyer and his lawyer to be able to interpret the law. That's all we're trying to do. So please already that the Supreme Court of Liberia had not anybody or Prophet Key in contempt. All the radio, social media.
Really, you mute. Okay.
There is it. The Chief Justice said Prophet Key demeaned the Supreme Court, and by demeaning the Supreme Court, he was very specific. He said Prophet Key caused the Chief Justice, he insulted the Chief Justice, and he also went further to insult the Chief Justice mouth. So, doing that is demeaning to the court, and the rest of the people on the court bench agree with that, and that is why the Supreme Court issued the citation for Prophet Key to come and show cause why he should not be held in contempt. Now, OJ is asking a very important, question regarding that, about impartiality, whether those people who are victim by Prophet Key act, who are injured or who are claiming injury by Prophet Key's act, and who promise to have their own lawyer to represent them, whether they can be the judges at the same time.
Yep.
And I should speak on that?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can speak on that generally too.
That's an open-ended question, so anybody.
I think that is where the issue, lies, and this is where I think when people say the court has crossed the line, I think that is where the concerns are. All right. How is in my lifetime, it is my first time for the court to summon someone who has not at any point in time appeared before the court, who was not a party before the court, to say that they obstructed court proceeding or they did something while they were in court or before the court that inhibited the operations of the court. This man was 100,000 miles away from the court. He was never even close to the court radar, and he made a statement. The court uses judicial power to summon him, and he appeared before the court, and now the court served as a complainant and as a judge, which raises concern as to due process. Because when we talk about due process, he was saying that Prophet Key will have a fair trial. He will be giving a lawyer. Giving a lawyer is not all about due process. Due process is an independent party. That's why the court is there, because that two independent parties go before the court, defendant and the court and the plaintiff. They appear before the court, and the court is the neutral party to determine who is right and who is wrong. In this case, the court is a complainant and at the same time is the determinant of the case. So there were the issue when people say the court has abused its authority. I think there were maybe, if I don't know whether the Chief Justice was on the bench when Prophet Key was being tried, he recused himself. And other justices, maybe one or two justices, have handled the matter. But in fact, it's still going to be the issue, because it was like
the full bench
court was on bench was on an attack for someone insulting.
One of them
Nobody on an entire bench could even dissent to say that no, this code is, this is not the way we should proceed. If the Chief Justice is not the court, he's just the court. The Supreme Court comprises of 5 justices. It's not a Chief Justice. So if the Chief Justice manner is under attack, the court is not under attack. Because Prophet Key did not attack the court in its entirety. He specifically target the Chief Justice. And he and the Chief Justice happened to come from NIMBA. And he was talking their NIMBA team. And so the Chief Justice used the court power to reach out to him, which raises the concern. And that's why people say it wasn't fair. And I think the question Comrade June is asking is relevant.
And let me see whether I can add Tewon Gonglo position on it. I think it will further strengthen what you are saying. But Comrade Jones, you can continue. While
let me buttress Professor Kofa's point. So I think the Chief Justice too, the way he presented the case was clearly personal to him. He sought his mother. He refused to mention, because not only while listening to that podcast from Prophet Key, but not just only man cause or other accusation that Prophet Key made. He is not mentioning it, and he playing the sentiment of man cause in the country, because people have sued Prophet Key before, insulting them, merely ladies, and he playing to that sentiment. And that's why he using the man cause thing to hold Prophet Key, to bring Prophet Key to the book. But other accusations that Prophet Key made, if they really want to deal with the matter, the court could be fair to themselves and send the case to the lower court and see it, because it's demeaning the court. There's a lot of circuit court in the. I'm not a legal person, but I know there's a lot of court in that the whole Temple of Justice. Why they never send the case and Prophet Key? They waited, because what I know contempt charges is, when I used to work at the National Legislature, when you go to section and you use inappropriate, because section have their own code of conduct. If you misbehave and use language or did something not in line with section and onlining, the speaker can hold you in contempt, or the pro tem can hold you in contempt. And you're gonna get rid of all this. Some of you, as a minister in Senate or a committee room, and you use some language and they warn you a couple of times, and you continue, it can hold you into contempt. That's what I know about contempt charges in the legislature. But I don't know contempt charges in the court of at the Supreme Court, because that the point that Professor Kofa was saying, you must be in court, or you are saying that to misbehave or to use foul language in court. But Prophet Key was in the social media space. You are not at a court proceeding and you are using this language. So how the Supreme Court was injured by this offense?
So here is
yeah,
Tewon Gonglo
the
interpretation and position on it. Oh my God.
For a few days after the Supreme Court cited Prophet Key for contempt, I got a lot of calls from Liberians in Liberia and abroad. And it was simple, simply because I represented a lot of media institutions, and I announced before publicly that I would dedicate my professional life to the defense of the press. I am the same person who drafted the original draft of the law that is today called the Kamara law that repealed all the anti-speech laws. But I did not include the law that punishes abusive language, disorderly conduct, 17.3 of the penal law. I live by the law. The law is the law. I told the people who called me that Prophet Key had crossed the line. His speech was criminal because abusive language under our law is a crime. And the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. I don't even think a magistrate court should tolerate any abusive language for any citizen of Liberia or any resident. And since the Supreme Court came down with its opinion today, I've had several calls from people. What do you think about the Supreme Court opinion? I applaud the Supreme Court opinion. The Supreme Court did extremely well to defend the sacredness of the court. We can do everything in this court, in this country, but the court must remain supreme. It's a sacred place. You cannot go on insulting the Chief Justice, the justices, or their parents, and all of that. This is so wrong. And morally, it teaches wrong lesson. We want our society to be a decent society. I defend free speech. I will defend free speech for my life, but not abusive language. That is my reaction.
So there you have it. Councillor Gonglo put it very clear. Okay, he did the Abdullah Kamara Act, decriminalizing free speech, but he said he did not include 17.1 or I don't know 17.3 or 17.1. I'm going to look it up, but he didn't include that, which is disorderly conduct, right? So disorderly conduct will include insulting and what have you. So it still remains there, meaning that somebody can take Prophet Key to court under that law, disorderly conduct, for some of the acts that he carried on. So his argument is that that law can be used to deal with Prophet Key. Now, if that law can be used to deal with Prophet Key, then it means that somebody's supposed to bring the case under our criminal law because it's in the penal code. Somebody's supposed to bring the case, and then the court look into the case. So you were talking about Julie Andy. Remember, Julie Andy brought a case against Prophet Key, but that law was still existing. But the legal advisor to the president said there was no law, and so the prosecutor could not carry on with the case, and the prosecutor abandoned Julie Andy case, and Prophet Key walked free. That was a case between two individuals, and the court was a neutral party. That was a case where the executive needed to take action, and they reneged on taking action. But Councillor Gonglo is telling us that the law exists and that the executive can bring action against somebody who engages in disorderly conduct.
Yeah, so that is clear. That is clear. So the legal counsel of the country, Tewa Gonglo, he said it all because he's one of the guys that penned down the Camara A Camara.
But Orlando, my man, don't praise from Tier 1. I disagree with him.
My man, he penned those things
I
down.
agree. He penned it
He
down. With all due respect, I
said-
respect him.
yeah,
But on this
he-
particular issue, I disagree with him. And just a second, you will come in. As Comrade Weedy said, okay, if for sure that the counselor, the landed counselor, who I respect, as he said, that the portion that has to do with insult, that particular portion is not a protected speech.
Yeah, they did not decriminalize that.
Why didn't he criticize? And I am sorry if he ever did it and I did not see it or did not hear it. But if he did not criticize the legal advisor to the president who called the Solicitor General of Maserati and told him that he shouldn't prosecute because under the Camara Act, that was decriminalized. So because they decriminalized it, there was no need to prosecute, so they took it out of court. Yet, today, the Landed Council is telling us that man called the same prophet key, the same person would did that same thing, now calls the Chief Justice, now it is criminal. But when it was Judy Andy, it wasn't. When the state was about to prosecute Prophet Key because of the criminal nature, they said it wasn't, and today it is. There where the hypocrisy is.
So Professor Kofa, who do you blame? You blame the person that carried the case to the court. Judy Andy had a lawyer, and Judy Andy lawyers should have access to the law.
No, Orlando, when it comes to crime, when something is a crime, it is the state that prosecute. Maybe Judy Andy who have sued him severally. But in terms of the criminal nature, the Ministry of Justice needed to prosecute that, Prophet Kid. So Judy Andy could not, she would just be a private witness in the case. But the state will be the complainant in that case because it's a criminal case.
I did you drop the case from the advice from the legal advisor to the president, or the kids were kicked out of court? Which one?
The court did not kick the case out of court. The legal advisor to the president called the guy, and you cannot prosecute.
Yeah, because all the prosecutors in criminal cases, they come from the executive.
Mm-hmm.
So the legal advisor told the man that you can't prosecute because there's no law.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the point that.
And so this is where that Councilor Gonglo supposed to have lambasted the legal advisor to condemn his action. Then if he had done it, and then today he's doing it, then we agree.
You don't know, you dare assuming. Because any legal issues when it comes to political issue, Taiwan always making his point on it.
That's what I said. If he ever said that, and then I applaud him.
The way he sounded, he's not in favor of Prophet Key talking to people in that form or demeaning anybody, whether lady or the court or stuff. He sounded very strong. And he said that was the reason when they were putting the law together, he never decriminalized the insult portion of free speech, because you can just go on and continue to insult people and you say free speech. And come out, and Prophet Key made a lot of accusations. My point I want to get to, that I'm going back to my same point, that the court was injured by this insult, specifically the Chief Justice. But the Chief Justice just calling out the man insult. Because a lot of things Prophet Key said. So
Do you
that
have the
the legal I
Prophet
want to speak to.
Huh?
That anyway, the
What
legal
do you
people
have, Prophet Key tape that brought us this far?
Yeah, we have Prophet Key tape,
court.
but it's not okay for the consumption of young people.
Yeah. Say some, say some. And we can't tell the show or take before we
Yeah,
leave.
our children will be listening to
Because the Supreme Court is a
the
precedent
show.
now.
You know, and this is where when I said initially that I have a mixed reaction to this, the word I came in, you know, the word my mixed reaction like, because we want a decent society. Now we are in the digital age. Now and then the children, they get on social media, things are popping up. You don't want children growing up to be accustomed to a guy in Liberia normalizing people, you know, insulting people, mothers, and he go with impunity. I think there should be a cutoff point. And thank God that Gonglo said that man cause is still a criminal offense in Liberia. It's, you know, it's a public disorder. But the only thing, and again, you know, there is a maxim Comrade knows in law called soa sponte. The court can move on its own. If you can't move the court can move on its own. And that's, I think, under that maxim, the court decided to bring Prophet Key under its jurisdiction. But the only thing that I see is,
why it took so long to move on their own.
well, the court felt that it is injured. All right.
Yeah.
While it is true that the court will not go outside looking for cases, but when the court in its wisdom, reasoning, feels that it has been brought under attack public to public disrepute, the court can move. And when the court moves and brings you under its jurisdiction, the court can act. I think that's what happened. But again, what we don't understand now is, should there have been a tribunal for fair play and, you know, in the interest of fair play and traditional notion, you know, of justice?
In America, a special counsel.
A special counsel.
Yeah, or operate under a special counsel because there's a
where the court that will sit and the court represent their lawyer, and Prophet Key lawyer now can argue the issue. They could have constituted a group of lawyers to look into the matter, so the Supreme Court recuse itself and make the recommendation to the Supreme Court, saying this is the first time. But again, the court says,
when the line will be dropped, because here's my point, because there's a lot of social media influencers and political activists on social media. They get over aggressive. And in the DMH, in the great America we're in, that we live, the president of the free world is also aggressive on social media. Call people by name.
There are people on social media currently who are starting to.
Y'all give me a second, okay? Let me finish. Y'all were time.
There are people on social media who are currently.
Let me learn with a point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Liberia Constitution and American Constitution is pattern by pattern. And I watch a lot of podcasts got in American society. They're very aggressive, like Prophet Key. They call Donald Trump all kind of names. They deal with him all kind of way. They describe him all kind of way. They describe the family. The Supreme Court, I never called in and said, why are you insulting the president? So what's the line of I saw that Camara law. I was very surprised that the land councilor said
The thing is,
yes.
the court said that it is under attack, and the court, this executive has its own power to use. If it fails to use its power, the court cannot go in defense of the executive. The court is saying it has a contempt power, and when it comes under attack, it has to use that power, and that's the power the court has used. The only thing is the circumstances. When we look at the totality of the circumstances, I don't think the Prophet Key issue it passes the threshold, because the Chief Justice is an individual. Prophet Key was not in court. Prophet Key did not obstruct justice in any way. He was sitting somewhere, he was doing his talk show, and then somebody saying something that the Chief Justice get hotel, take the people land, and all of this. And so out of his frustration, he decided to cause the Chief Justice. Technically, the Chief Justice is not injured. The mother should be the one under the Criminal Act now to go to the Ministry of Justice to say that man caused me. And then they can prosecute Prophet King from that level. Because
that's why I got problem with the whole Camara freedom of speech and law the pass. That's a loophole. That's the loophole we're talking about now.
yes,
That portion that they won't, speaking about the never criminalize.
decriminalize.
They decriminalize that particular portion of the law. That's not fair. So I like to borrow, because our constitution is pattern by pattern. A lot of podcasters in the U.S., conservative or liberal podcasters, they are very, when you listen to the show, they describe the court. They describe verdict. They describe action of personality in the court. And none of the talk show hosts around been brought to the court and say, "Show why you are cussing on your show." They said a lot of foul language. The Rhoda Mountain, you want Liberia. You are listening to that guy, Chicago liberal broadcaster. He deal with Donald Trump. He described it first.
But here is the thing. And when the Chief Justice
speech, my problem is, let me learn on this one. Freedom of speech, because in legal thing, you all that did a little bit of law in the law business. When this happens, it's a precedent. When there's a precedent in law, everybody want to run to the court or the people, because a lot of battle of Liberian cussing each other on social media, and will be a lot of cases going around the country because somebody is talking about, you remember the girl that was on Opon and the Opon group that wanted to go and burn a horse, that Tangi girl.
I know Tangi. Is she in Minnesota?
No, she's not in Minnesota, but she in Liberia. She back and forth. But people bringing cases to the court that somebody, insult the president, and there will be a lot of cases coming up because it's precedent. Yeah, but you can jump in. I will just
so what I was trying to make reference to was what Professor Kofa mentioned, which is contempt. And when the Chief Justice spoke about contempt. He spoke about contempt. Prophet Key should come to answer a question why he should not be held in contempt. And the laws on contempt are clear. You have the direct contempt where the issue happen in the presence of the court, and then indirect or constructive contempt, where your action is actually affecting or undermines the administration of justice. So it must attach to a particular case, so to speak. So contempt was not the way to go, except the court is able to show that, oh, this man's action actually affected the administration of justice in a certain way. And that reasoning has to be very clear to the Liberian people too. It can sit in their minds, because we want to evaluate them and see why they are taking the decision that they are taking. You know, so that's the gray area. But then if they are going by the route of Councillor Gonglo, invoking disorderly conduct as the basis for which they are dealing with Prophet Key, then the question of due process, impartiality, or comes in disorderly conduct. And what Komrokova talk about sua sponte, they can take that action, but when they bring the man before the court, I don't know to what extent now they can issue contempt on him. But even if they could issue contempt on him, they should first bring him before the court on that note. But what they said they were bringing him before the court on is to answer a question why he should not be held in contempt, and they didn't bring him before the court on disorderly conduct that Councillor Gonglo spoke about.
No, he said that the main cause is disorderly conduct, so he just put it in that context. But from our own, from the elementary principles of law, we know that for an action to lie, there must have been injury.
Yeah,
all right, causation, and then we look at redressability. All right. Yeah. So, Prophet Key, I maintain, insulted the Chief Justice Monda. He did not insult the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice, in as much as he would say, I don't think the Chief Justice has standing, to invite Prophet Key. The best way could have been the mother could have sued. If the mother is still alive, could have sued. Even though somebody will also...
Send me the link. I want to send somebody to watch.
Somebody could say, well, there is a relationship between, a relationship that exists between the Chief Justice and his mother. So if the mother does not have standing in the Eastern, if the mother is unable to bring the action, the Chief Justice can bring the action on behalf of the mother. The law is that kind of way. When you think you can twist it so you get another portion there, you have to wrinkle around. So the Chief Justice can also argue that, well, Mama is unable to bring the action, so I am bringing the action on her behalf. And I cannot go to the lower court to sue because it also implicated the court, the Supreme Court. So we will use our contempt. I think the contempt power was overbroad. It's overbroad. The uses of the contempt power they used was overbroad because it should have been restricted to anything that obstructed justice in the administration of justice. Any action that impeded the court from exercising its judicial authority could have been contemptuous. But in this instant case at hand, there is no way the court can justify contempt. They only use the contempt overly, broadly. And this has a chilling effect because the legislature now too can use their contempt power. Then the executive too now, they don't have contempt power. They got the police. They can brutalize people and put people in jail for causing. So then where are we heading? And then, what is the freedom of speech? You understand? Comrade Orlando Jones. This is the Pandora box that has been opened.
And I also thinking that this Chief Justice holding Prophet Keys as contempt, because when somebody gets so, because Prophet Keys been using words vocal on a lot of people, prominent people in the country, and he said it never came to attention. But I think a lot of personal things that Prophet Keys on earth to the public about the Chief Justice that nobody was thinking about. I think it got to the soul, and when you see people is hurt and injured for certain things, there's some truth behind, or not be 100% true, but it looked like some truth was behind some of the things. Although Prophet Keys used foul language to express some of this, dishonor act of the Chief Justice. Because our country, so I don't want to twist the whole debate about being fair as a court and also the court being injured. I think there's something behind the fire that
Boy, my man, can you play that Prophet Keys something, my man? You could
because like he said, that he took a piece of land for and he running businesses, and he talked about even some cases that Chief Justice is holding
I can look for it.
Yeah.
It's
true. I can look for it and send it to you, but I can't.
Okay.
I some foul language, but he talked about some cases, and those are all that you listen to Prophet Keys. I don't listen to Prophet Keys a lot. But when Prophet Keys brings some permanent people and start talking about the bad deeds and the behind the black deed, like real people call it, I try to listen to it. I think the sense, like my man George would say, and lead the nonsense. I think the sense from Prophet Keys broadcast, because sometimes he can get distracted and use a lot of, because of how he get his audience. Because a lot of things on social media, if you're not aggressive or vocal, people that the way we're talking logic here, a lot of people will not want to turn in it. But
and I think, Comrade Jones, I agree with you. Yeah. I think this is a kind of judicial syndicate. Among the justices.
Yeah.
The fact that Prophet Keys flagged this, they went into their caucus and said, "My that guy here." That the Chief Justice say, if we don't deal with this guy, he will be digging behind us. So the thing we need to do now, let's take the one from there for the man cause that the one that bring people know that the one will hold him to, we will send him to jail. When he comes from there, he will keep quiet, he will not talk. So it is just to chill him, to put that fear in him, because had he not gone to jail, Prophet Keys would have still continued on that path.
So because he said you'll stay. When he got his citation, he said, I will go to jail and kind of stay deep into, I will dig the Chief Justice again. Yeah, you know how you can say it. We can say it on and on. Say I will stay deep into it.
You say I will tell the man cause from there.
Here is another issue. I want to play the advisor to the president, because I still think that he owed the state owes Julie Andy, because they thwarted the Julie Andy prosecution by withdrawing the state representation of Andy. So let me play what he said.
Where I'm insulting people, but if somebody insults you and it hurts your feelings and it damages your reputation and causes you loss of money and loss of business, you have the right to sue the person in damages. Depending on how you feel, you suffer the loss. 1,500,000, 50,000, whatever. So the courts are open for private lawsuits between individuals for insults. But you cannot be criminally charged or arrested. No longer under Liberian law. We have decriminalized speech. Criminal libel, criminal slander, all of those things have been decriminalized under Liberian law. And during this Joseph Human Boycott time, nobody will be arrested because they insulted somebody. From the president down, nobody will be arrested in this country for insult. If you insult the president and the person feel aggrieved by it, the person proper recourse will be to sue you in a civil action for the damages that you caused to them. But that action will be between the two of you. In the Julie Andy case, the city solicitor in the Monrovia City Court filed a case on behalf of the government of Liberia against Prophet Key and charged him criminally because he made certain statement on the broadcast that Julie Andy felt were insulting to her. It's in the environment on the arrest sheet. So they charged him criminally for speech that he made. The part that I played in it was I called the city solicitor and I asked him, is it true that you have arrested Prophet Key on behalf of the government of Liberia and charged him criminally? He said yes. I said, on what basis? He said, on the basis of a complaint filed by this lady who said that she was criminally insulted in his podcast. Then I asked him, are you aware of the Table Mountain Declaration that Liberia signed, where Liberia decriminalized speech? And are you also aware of the 2019 Camara Act, where we repealed all the penal code sections that has to do with criminal speech? So, what I aware of that, counselor, but show it to me. I said, okay, go and look at it. And if you see that speech of the kind that Prophet Key made has been decriminalized, so people cannot be arrested for it, then your best course of action will be to drop the case. Because you are suing in the name of the Republic of Liberia. If you have a writ that says,
so
Yeah,
the mayor advised the
whole thing that
mayor advised the solicitor, the city solicitor, and the city solicitor apparently did not go back to go and check, because the advice came from a position where Prophet Key has been a favorable ally of the regime. And so the city solicitor, though he probably might have the understanding that Prophet Key could have been prosecuted, the city solicitor thought that it was the administration position not to prosecute Prophet Key. And therefore, because of that, fear for political retribution, the city solicitor might have withdrawn. So the action of the advisor, the legal advisor to the president, probably caused Julie Andy her case. So I think the owe to Julie Andy, if the law is there that Councillor Gonglo made reference to, then there is still law criminalizing free speech, and Prophet Key can be prosecuted under that law, and they should have prosecuted Prophet Key.
And anybody else.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know what is the term of reference of the advisor, the legal advisor to the president, that he will call an employee of the Ministry of Justice to tell them, that because Republic of Liberia versus Prophet Key, and again, that's the thing. Maybe the job business has, so the guy who was prosecuted didn't want to lose his job because legal counsel to president call you say this, county attorney, and you still want, and so, but I don't think that was
president can advise the solicitor.
I don't think that was his place. He shouldn't have called. I think he overreached his power. You know, that's the same Liberian behavior. Because you're close to the president, you abuse the power. The man should do his job. If you went to court, the court didn't see the merit, they will dismiss the case.
Yeah. Now, how from advancing the president, you know, that's a big portfolio. You leave it and go to. It's not even the. You're not
That's
even
some of the
talking to the
abuse of
justice
power,
minister.
Bo.
You're not even
That's
talking
some
to
of
the
the abuse of power.
No,
You go talk to
Professor
city
Cooper,
solicitor, city solicitor.
I disagree. He never abused his power. That's clear. Legal advisor to the president. The president is the number one and the controlling executive.
Yeah.
And when it was a criminal case.
I mean, the men who were prosecuting come from the Ministry of Justice. The Justice Ministry, like in this America, the Attorney General. Let me give you information for you. The Attorney General prosecute. An advisor to Donald Trump will not just call the Attorney General, you know what, don't prosecute the case. No. The Ministry of Justice. Go ahead.
I listened to the guy very carefully while I was waiting for you to make all your points. He called what they call advisor.
To who?
He called the judge and the prosecutor. And he made reference to 3 documents. I know he listened to his speech.
Yeah.
Can you read this document? And what he said, he asked them to read the document because he said all of the things that they were prosecuting and Prophet Key for, that criminal offense was decriminalized under this law. And he made reference to 3 documents, the Camara document, and all of the Panaco and Liberia John that knew. He called the group that and the
Table Mountain Declaration.
The declaration of stuff. He said all of the things. So if the Justice Ministry, who is the legal arm of the government, cannot do the research and counteract the legal advisor to the president, because it's about the object of the country, and you as the advisor of the president, you're watching cases around the country that bring the government into it, because the government is prosecuting. You don't want under your regime that government go to court prosecuting somebody and lose the battle. If Prophet Keith and that woman are going to go to court and Prophet Keith get the right lawyer, Prophet Keith are going to win, because all of the free speech were decriminalized. So the same thing I brought to your attention is the Supreme Court wanted to be fair. They should send that case to a lower court, and their lawyer and prosecuting lawyer, and they should not be the judge.
Now, what the Chief Justice promised.
But the 4 bench appeared, and they gave Prophet Key a public defender. And they say when you can't, you get enough reason, and they already make Prophet Key to confess to a crime, and Prophet Key apologize to the court. They say not sufficient, you go to jail, and they read a verdict. So
yeah, but when you apologize now, it means that you plead guilty.
You're guilty that what he did. When you apologize, you went there, you apologize on the first day.
You gotta call him to show reason why he should not be held in contempt.
They asked him for his lawyer. He said you don't have a lawyer. They told him the court will provide you a public defender.
But if you went before the court and say, "Oh yes, I should be held in contempt," then the court will hold you in contempt. The court call you to say, "Oh, show reason why you should not be held in contempt."
You beg for mercy to the court. You say you'll not do it again. That's what you did the first day. And until you say you still go for a lawyer, because we want to judge you with all a lawyer. Because of what the law say, you have to get a lawyer. They ask him for a lawyer, he said he don't have. So
Comrade Jones, why, sometimes when you are close to the executive, especially like advisor to the president on legal matters, you have to be slow. I mean, he didn't have to even call press conference.
No, you have to be slow. You have to be fast.
I say you have to be, you need to be careful, what you do and how you move about it. Okay? I know, yes, society-wide, you can do one or two things. But to call a press conference where the whole world looking at you and you said that we decriminalize this, and today, the very man who say he drafted the law, that's section 17 point something, was not included as a protected speech under the new Camara Act. The advisor to the president said every portion of the penal code that criminalized speech at the time were being decriminalized. When somebody take his clip and listen to Gonglo and see the Supreme Court action today, someone will wonder whether he fit to even be close to the president to be legal advisor. Because he intruded into the legal process. He was giving authority. Today now, myself, I have to go and look at that law. Gonglo is saying he drafted the law. That part of the law was not part of the AKA new law. And so it remains a criminal aspect of our law. Yet the advisor to the president say every speech that have been that was criminalized have been decriminalized. So speech in its totality is no more a crime in Liberia.
Well, yes, a catch for Gonglo. So Gonglo was they referring to AKA law, Camara law. But the president advisor added two different penal code law that is decriminalized.
Well, when we have an international, I come in.
OJ.
He added two different
stuff. He made reference to
the Table Martin.
The Table Martin declaration. A declaration is not a law. You're just declaring that this.
So you declare, but that's a panel. How they can call
penal code. Yeah, he said.
That's how they call panel code or review or something.
Yeah, the penal code. What he said was that there were laws in the penal code criminalizing free speech.
What he said
according to him,
declaration.
According to him, they repeal all of those laws.
Yes.
By the Abdullah Camara Act, the Abdullah Camara Act repeal all of those laws. Tiawon Gonglo is saying no. There is one law there that he did not include in the Abdullah Camara Act. So that law still criminalizes free speech. You understand?
So that's something we need
but the point we're making about the advisor to the president, there's a reason why they call him advisor to the president, right? You are advising the president, you're not taking action, you're not going outside of your scope. If you are an advisor to the president, when you advise the president on a certain issue, the president can give you authority to engage with the minister who is a specialist on that matter. So, for instance, if you advise the president on a specific issue regarding Judy Andy and Prophet Key case, the president will refer you to the justice minister, or otherwise, your advice to the president will similarly means you advising the president cabinet, who is the president's specialist on that matter. So you advising the president, but then you are connected with the president cabinet as a legal advisor to the president, because everything the cabinet does that has legal implication, they must be able to reach it to the president through the legal advisor, because legal advisor has to be aware. Where you go all the way down, you didn't talk to the
The Justice
Attorney
Minister.
General. You didn't talk to the Solicitor General. You didn't talk to the county attorney. You went all the way down to the city solicitor. It's overreaching, OJ. It's overreaching.
I don't
So
know how
the legal advisor should not have gone to that extent. It was none of his business.
You know what stop it.
You know the thing is, Orlando. It's just like I come in, you come. It's like that picking way down there and you up there. The fact that you are the legal advisor to the president, that alone carries weight, and there is no way, even if that boy, that counselor he called, that attorney, even if he knew what he was doing, there's no way you will argue with the legal advisor. You know, Liberia, the way one big man call you, think you know all the planted book.
And it was Prophet Key. It was Prophet Key, an ally to the government. It was Prophet Key.
So equal call the Justice Ministry because that people. Yeah, go ahead.
You're looking at the thing from the political landscape.
But that political landscape.
Let me make my point. This should not be looked at from the political landscape because Councillor Keita never addressed the thing from any political perspective. He was quoting law, panel code review, and what they did to decriminalize. So our duty now, it would think because we get two contrary, we get two views on the issue. When we listen to Tewon said was not decriminalized. When we listen to Councillor Keita, the legal advisor said was decriminalized. He was giving advice to the prosecutor who was prosecuting the case because you're prosecuting the case on behalf of the government of Liberia. And the legal advisor to the president, COBA, is the eye that monitor all legal aspects of the country, what the government is doing in every legal aspect.
No, that the Ministry of Justice, my man, that the only man who can disagree with the president.
Even the Ministry of Justice, that what I tell you, the White House Counselor, any legal thing, I tell you, a legal advisor to the president, before the president signed it passed through that legal office of the president. That's why he gets so many. The Justice Minister will sign all the contract, they will send it before the president put his signature to it. He had to pass through Keita office. You think the president read all the legal things? No. He's the eye of the government seeing all legal things in the country and telling the president it's good for you to sign the contract. Although the Justice Minister look at it and it crossed the T and I, he was still sending in the legal office of the president. And he sees things are happening in for the government. The government is prosecuting somebody on free speech.
So why he did not call the Supreme Court justice say, look, you know, where you're going, we can't do it.
The government is prosecuting somebody. When there's someone, you don't know what happened behind the scene. Yeah. So we said that case because it's a precedent. Because I waited for him because he was clear. They decriminalized this thing. And they let that case to go and they keep Prophet Key in jail for 6 months and all of the thing. This rolling stone that will start, it will go down the road. That we here on a broadcast cannot use any language and accuse any of the way we will kind of say, and Samuel stole and just
OJ, that one cannot happen. Prophet Key Lagbele. I want to happen.
They can jail us.
That one can happen. Prophet Key Lagbele.
If you can't let you accuse it, you go Liberia, you can put it in jail.
Prophet Key Lagbele. You know, they not put to also been in the human rights business for a long time. When Prophet Key went before the people, the post can't show the reason why you should not be here in contempt. Then you can go show the people, you say, oh, I beg you, I'm sorry, I'll not do it again. It means you get it.
That's true.
Yeah, time try out for right alone.
No, but I said it. You know, I said it.
Yeah. And
That
okay, check it.
the
Even shout out,
legislature,
I will play a left phone about even shout around, they can get into trouble.
you know, the legislature got contempt power. The legislature has contempt powers. Judiciary has contempt power. The president has the executive. So we are kind of narrowing free speech, and so it will have a chilling effect. You
It's a
know,
town trap. It's
it
a
will
town
have it
trap.
will have a chilling effect. The public will not be talking now. People will be afraid.
We don't we're not in favor of people getting on social media and using all the versions about people murder. Nobody in favor of that. So I want to be clear. But I'm looking at free speech because it's so important. And we in this type of modern democracy in America, we see it every day. We see it every day.
So that Sano guy from Ministry of Information, how do they call him? Jeremy Pia, Deputy Information Minister.
Yeah, we call it boy BA and all that thing.
Yeah, so who say Joe ya get mosquito brain? You need to go to jail.
Yeah, Mama Sano.
Then you can call it back. You can call it back. You have to brother key. It's a trust for you.
They get
the difference between Yeke and that guy.
You have to be on the
Yeke is protected. Yeke is protected by. Yeke is protected by what we call the debate speech. I mean the debate clause. The debate clause in the Constitution protect Yeke. So Yeke can go on the floor in the legislature and he can do all the calls there.
If Yeke go travel in the country, the way Yeke was chasing the president from county to county, and when one grand jury you are there and causing all over, he could be arrested.
No, the man will change there.
So that one said time trial, they should not be happy. We know that this thing was affecting, the man costing on social media is not a good thing, but it's a time trap. And not only rat gonna fall in it. We're gonna catch.
No, what the Supreme Court has signaled is let's have a civil engagement. We can disagree. We can discuss all the issues. Let us not cause each other. All right? If Prophet Key said, or if somebody else come out to say the Chief Justice is corrupt, he got property, in fact, he's violating the judicial council because he's not supposed to have property, he's not supposed to, enter in land to have property. I'm sorry. But he should not be in business. Yeah. He shouldn't be in business. He shouldn't do what he's doing. And if someone can prove that, this is where I'm calling the national legislature and the Ministry of Justice for them to start their own investigation. All right? And if it is the Cabinet Janet, just because they say Cabinet Janet sees somebody land, he was removed.
Yeah.
So if the same man, if that man is engaging in this kind of thing to our legislature, the regime speaker should not be a regime speaker. You should mobilize his men, then let them see. If it means that it's impeachable, let him be impeached and be removed.
Yeah, but they highlight on the man causing the whole contempt charges.
That's it.
All the things he said on the show, it makes some sense.
And Prophet Key was merely annoyed because he said the man will spoil the Nimba people name to murder people say, oh, that Nima man.
Mm-hmm.
And you spoil all of them need.
I think I agree with Prophet Key. I was watching a social media thing. It's a group of Nima professionals. And I saw the Chief Justice was dancing. Was in a very large compound with swimming pool and stuff. It looked like that's the hotel that I think he got from somewhere, on the beach or somewhere. And the Chief Justice was dancing. That new that and congratulation music, and in a very big compound, the group of Nima professionals went to meet him. Yeah, I can see a lot of Nima were there. So they know that he's very well off. And he's still doing active business. It's
Yeah,
also
you're doing business, and we
it, it,
shouldn't be.
it borders on ethical violation because you
Absolutely.
cannot a chief justice of the country settling all of the major cases in the country and you engage into active business practice.
My man, even to accept a gift as a judge, there is a particular judicial canon that govern the judiciary. Even as
Yeah,
a judge, not an ordinary judge, not the chief justice, you have boundaries. They accept it. You have your do's and your don'ts.
mhm. Yeah.
That is
So
why
that-
before you accept a position like becoming a judge, you have to critically examine your life. Is it what I
yeah,
want to do? Because when you accept that position, your life has changed. Certain
yeah.
things you are not supposed to do, certain places you cannot do, you can't even accept gifts and all those kind of things. So it's a wide range of things because even
Even,
a parent,
yeah, the social media is not supposed to be involved because a lot of sentiments in the cases. But
absolutely, you know, so
yeah,
absolutely. Look,
people involved in
the chief justice, the first place I have my own reservation was when the chief justice pulled his son name on the judicial list that you were sending to president for consideration. That was the
yeah,
first red flag. You can't do that.
And the man say he nominated his son.
yeah.
Yeah,
How
you
you
can't
know
do that. And you know what? The man
that-
challenged. He challenged. He said, "Let anybody show me the law." You know, he was, and then somebody raised the code of conduct.
Yeah,
and that is saying that some of that reflect on some of the things that Prophet King bring to life. Although he going to jail because causing my own cause because decency in society, but I've been following Prophet King now, not a wholly following him, but when I see some kids who is very sensitive to the society, and people always give Prophet King information, and some of the things that information that he provide, sometimes it can be closer to the truth. I still remember the former pro tem, our chair. There's a case, you follow that case, the our chair pregnant a lady that came from America. You remember
DNA.
that case with Prophet Key? Prophet
Mhm.
Key and the get used. Yeah. I just admitted he and the girl had an affair. But he sent the girl to a clinic to check her and this and that and did the DNA. Even out here called Prophet Key. So some of the information I said, oh, so Prophet Key really get real-time information and go
Yes.
into it. And the Met Devil Avatar, cuss Avatar, submitted himself to Prophet Key. And he said the child not for me, and they get lying. And they did the DNA. Prophet Key followed all through the DNA and clapped Avatar need all of that whole mess. So
Yes.
what are some cases that Prophet Key worked people out of it, although he started it with very aggressive language and cost you your knees, all that. And but when you prove you're innocent, Prophet Key would that why he called himself promote and demote. I still remember the word he used. He said, I the same one will promote you, I will demote you. And you are costing Joseph Barker, Sleeping Joe and costing Joe and later on he changed. And I was surprised that Joe Barker shook his hand and how they call during the launching of the party headquarters. People were stopping Prophet King for going to Joseph Barker and Joseph Barker meeting. He shook the president's hand. Some people say, well, not a decent thing. I met, I had a Pierre, Jeremiah Pierre just invited Prophet King to his office, some of the good work he's doing in renovation, and Prophet King was highlighting some of the things that he's doing. So Prophet King being on the negative side was something, but he gets some plus in doing some other thing. So it would be good that we transition him. But yeah, it's a thing of a Prophet King for me to learn on the Prophet King thing. He don't have the intellectual force to bring things in an intellectual manner that people will listen to it logically. His strength is when he's used the utterances, he get both viewer, and later on that he exposed your ordeal. So maybe the case will make him learn new approach how to tackle some areas in society and bringing people who doing things bad deeds to light.
That's true. That's true. But for me, boy, you play something.
Oh, sorry.
You know, for me, I want to give it to the. I want to pass the ball to the legislature and the Ministry of Justice. Not because the mayor is a chief justice, or not because they are justices, so they are not human. They are not infallible. Some of the accusations that are being flagged, they're worth investigating. And that's why we make the court is an honorable court. When you are on the bench, the Supreme Court bench, and you are a chief justice, you have to be honorable. And if you are even a parent of any impropriety, it's worth investigating because you don't want your action to bring disrepute to the honorable Supreme Court. So some of the issues that have been raised by Prophet Key, other than the man cause, I wish people in the Ministry of Justice, the legislature could do their own investigation on that. And if it is found probable, initiate a kind of impeachment proceeding against. Look, we need to do things. If it happened to Kabina Janneh yesterday, Justice Brixey is not immune from that.
Yeah, because the legislature, the Senate is the one that checkmate the Supreme Court, Because
Yes,
that's it's the check and balance process. Three
that's true.
separate government. And when they see
Yes,
that great style from the lower house and they push
yes,
it to the
absolutely.
Kabina Janneh say he never get a fair trial and he will put it up.
Yes,
So if somebody raising issue about the Supreme Court, although they're doing it in a very demanding way and using all kind of language that the public don't want to hear, we still need to investigate some of the important things that
absolutely.
take the nonsense which the man calls
And take the sense,
yeah.
you know.
Okay, so I think time is fast spent.
Yeah,
We just need to close up on all of our opposition and see how we can, prepare for another section. By the way, our folks in Monrovia are continuing with the Progressive Diary. They've been able to interview some of the progressive folks, and it's ongoing. We have some of those clips, so between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we might be able to go through some of them and make our analysis around that. But I will just give you guys 2 minutes each to wrap up, and then we can call it a day and prepare for our next presentation.
Yeah, Professor Green, let me wrap up. You're talking about the Progressive Diary. I was just laughing the other day. I think 2 days ago, they were reflecting on the professor and Alaji G.V. Kumar, and H. Burma family was at that gathering, and he was reflecting on his friend and brother, G.V. Clement. And it was a brilliant presentation that he made, and he described, Elijah in different aspects. Honesty, friend that will be there for you, and his intellectual. He talked about his sport thing. So there's a side talk from the Prophet K thing. So you talking about the progressive diary that some of the intellectual. He was a professor at the University of Liberia campus. He was a scholar. You're a good writer. He was a politician. He took part in the war. That some of the things.
Yeah, and just to connect your thought, he made mention about what who are the role models, those people our children supposed to be learning from. We got to be able to project the role models and not some of these people who are corrupt and who lacked integrity and stuff like that, that are being shown all around on social media. That is a misdirection for our children.
The misdirection of that. And every Samuel 12 added to it, I listened to Samuel 12. He made another great reflection for Elijah V. Clement and why inspire him to follow soccer and the
So Prophet Key will not be a good role model.
They were not a good role model. So that brings me to my point that Kofi and myself agree on today. We get misreaction with the whole Prophet Key thing because we don't want that. Why I get my son growing all year when I always watching social media. Sometimes with Liberian talk, I go in my room. I don't like to listen to it because most of the time it's always crazy things someone saying. He always say you on the Liberian thing, people will be yelling and then he don't really understand. You say, why are you always yelling? You're asking me. One time I was in the car driving, coming from work because our disco is so. The language is so. The guy I was doing the what they call Jawia time. They was short of rice, and the guy was so screaming on the top of his voice about that rice, and they had a free pool. They're yelling. So my son asked me in the car, "Why the car so? Why rice? I don't even like rice. Why are you yelling about rice?" My son, I still remember he was like maybe 9 or 8 years old. I was driving him from school coming home. He said, "Daddy, why they got I would have seen spoon talk and I was short to arrest in Liberia. That guy was screaming about the price of rice." He said, "I don't even like rice, so I don't let this." So that some of the disco that happen in our country, we always aggressive in approaching this thing. So Prophet Key's scenario is one of the things that he get order aggressive and people love him for doing that. That's how he gets so many followers. But the other side of it, the Supreme Court got into it too big time and draw themselves into the action too much. It could be one of the things that Prophet Key calls Joe Weirman, called Joe Barker, Sleeping Joe, and everybody let him lie and nobody mentioned it, but now everybody want to listen to the clip now. Well, Prophet Key said, "Well, the Chief Justice that he went to jail." But
you need to see that clip. The man caused the Chief Justice man in you. I don't know the meeting. I made a Chief Justice vest.
I got one of my friends. He just came from Liberia. I say, "You see how people can support people? The man get wet. The man still hustling." The man said, "That guy can make my day. I don't put him in jail." The man love. Supposed to say you love Prophet Key. Then my other man from Canada, what his big war with Prophet Key, boss and girl, put you jubu, all kind of things. All the
your man Joy, we are the man, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
The man said when he met George we had to Prince Johnson, Prince Johnson funeral. We are the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls. You can't shake the man's hand. So
you can't carry from beauty pageant.
Yeah, you can't carry from beauty pageant. They're not great. Our children don't want to listen to it. Most of our children that are born here or they don't want to let them listen to this type of thing because we want to copy this type of speech. But all in all, this case, like you said, and Kofa, we need a checkmate. The legislature need to get involved. The justice ministry need to get involved. Keita, who is the legal advisor, need to say, how can you settle the thing? Although Prophet Key maybe the service 6 months or less than that, but I think we'll have some mark on freedom of speech, the way I see it going. And that time trap they said will not be for rat. It will catch some opossum, it will catch some cow, it will catch a lot of people. That's how I'm gonna end on that.
That's something though. Okay, thank you. Yeah, anyway, thank you, comrade. I think we've said it all, and again, I know someone will want to ask the question again, but how was the court injured? And again, the Supreme Court has the authority. The Constitution gave them the authority to interpret the law. So it's the only people the only institution that can interpret the law for the nation is the Supreme Court. Today, here we are, a new interpretation of our laws. That the Supreme Court, someone will ask, how was the Supreme Court injured? Did they have standing to get Prophet Key to where he is? Well, the court answered the question. The Chief Justice said, Prophet Key caused his man, and by extension, he's injured by the man caused from Prophet Key. And again, vis-a-vis, the Supreme Court is injured. Chief Justice Prophet Key called the Chief Justice man. The Chief Justice is injured, and so the Supreme Court, all the justices, everybody on the Supreme Court injured. And because of that, Prophet Key has to go to, I'm not sure, maybe he may serve less than 6 months. I know people will intervene. They were talking from the NIMBA angle, the vice president that Prophet Key met. And, parties will get into it, But again, I think the deterrent is they just don't want Prophet Key to dig behind them, because it was like, look, this guy is starting off with the Chief Justice. From the Chief Justice, he will be coming to us. So we just need to nail him so that he will not go further than this. I think that was it. But again, that decision to protect themselves now has set a precedent. So somebody will go to court tomorrow because you caused them. And the lower court will follow, because they will say, in the case of Prophet Key versus the Supreme Court, the ruling was man caused. So as you said rightly, the Pandora box, it has opened a wide range of Pandora box. Yeah. The legislature too could invoke their own contempt power outside of the legislative confine, and they could use that too. And then the executive could also come. So it's troubling. It's troubling. As you said, time trap is now for Ra alone. Samuel Doe said it. When the rebels were coming, people were rejoicing. But when they came, what happened? They were killing, anything, it could fall inside. So, but my final words would be, we are calling on the legislature, especially those from NIMBA, Musa Belete, those who are in the opposition. This is a fair time to do your own due diligence about some of the accusation against the Chief Justice. It shouldn't go lightly, because that court is an honorable court. Our Ministry of Justice, let them do their own investigation to find out that whether or not the Chief Justice is now running a hotel business in NIMBA and not taking people land. It's important that this issue be investigated, because we want those justices on the court to be honorable, and let them not be the one to go against societal norms. Then you are not honorable. So we hope that people will take it off from there. Not Prophet Kijo, Romy EJ, and the man costing make the whole accusation die down. But somebody should follow through. so that we all will know that whether they are true or not. We want a better Liberia, and sure, a better Liberia is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just as you said, this thing can extend, and the legislature can abuse power too. They can call people and invite them on contempt charges simply because a legislator was insulted, or because some of our judges in the magisterial court, sometimes they go into the community, they start loving the people, women, and if you misbehave, they just grab you to come to the court and say why you should not be held in contempt. And they send you to prison so that they create more avenue for them to continue
And
to.
They behind your girlfriend already.
Yeah, I think you come from prison and like Prophet Key is not around. Prophet Key is not around. If the action was political, they will be sending somebody beyond Prophet Key Jew. You understand? In 6 months, a Jew can get pregnant. You understand? So
already.
So the court unquestionably has contempt authority. The constitutional question is not power, but the scope. Without evidence of obstruction, intimidation, or interference, the propriety of contempt rests on whether degradation of institutional dignity alone qualify as obstruction. That is a legal, delicate, and historical evolving question in the judicial space. The durability of the ruling will depend on how narrowly the principle is applied in future cases. We are spectators, we are commentators, we are watching what happens next. But as we all see, Thorn Trap is not for rat alone. It can grab anybody anytime. The way this case was handled, we all do not like Prophet Key. We want him to stay in prison for.
Let it make
so the Prophet Key, just because it is Prophet Key, should not make us to ignore the fact that something terrible is happening. And we have to be very mindful how we handle the whole issue. When I was doing criminal law, there was a maxim that it is better for one guilty man. It is better for
one innocent man to go free.
Better for a non-guilty man to go free than for one innocent man to be held
in prison.
guilty.
Yeah.
So the law is a trap. It's a trap. You will have people like Prophet Key being affected by the law, but what is going to be more dangerous if the law is used against an innocent person just because they want to silence that person? There is where we are not going to have the authority to speak out. The way we question other people are going to question us as well. So we are still watching what goes on, but this is the Kaki's dialogue, and we try to make reason out of what is transpiring in the Liberia political space. And as we always said, a better Liberia is possible. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, and keep to tomorrow. And